Welcome to another Blender tutorial. This time I will tell you something about clipping masks. When I say clipping mask, I mean a mask which identifies the area where one mesh kind of cuts through another mesh. To make that more clear, we should take a look at this scene from my demo reel from 2009. There was this monkey head coming out of this black liquid, and the edge between the head and the liquid was glowing. In order to create such an effect, you first have to generate a clipping mask. That mask which identifies the area between the liquid and the head. In my tutorial, I will first tell you how you generate that mask, and later on I will also tell you how you can use it to create such a glow effect. If you have watched my portal effect already, you will probably see some similarities. Let's first set up a testing scene. I will make that very quick. I will only add a plane and a monkey head. I won't care about lighting or materials. That's all up to you. This won't look very good at this point, but it will do the job. It's only for demonstration. So that should do. I will disable color management in the render settings. It's always a little strange to work with color management when you use compositing, but you can enable it if you want to. If I render that scene, it looks something like that. Okay. I think I will at least add another lamp on this side of the monkey so that this area isn't that dark. It still doesn't look good, but this isn't the point. Let's get to the part with the clipping masks. There are probably several ways to make a clipping mask. If you know a better one, please let me know. I will explain everything step by step, and in the end you will see how all comes together. At first we need to create a new material. I use the monkey head, go to the material settings, click add new, and add a new material. I call it mask matte. You can call it anything you want. That material is actually not for the monkey head. I just use it to create it for the moment. Let's go to the compositing interface. Go to the material nodes and select use nodes. We don't even need that default material node there. Delete it. Instead we press Shift A and add a geometry input. What we need is the front-back information. It tells us if we see the front or the back of a face. It will be 1 if we see the front, it will be 0 if we see the back. We need to invert that. I use a color ramp for that. So connect the front-back information to the input, and the output, the color output, will be connected to our final node output. In order to convert the colors, we just switch the places of the black and the white color. Of course, you could also do the same thing by adding a, where is it? Color invert node, but for some reason it just doesn't work as intended in that case. So now with that material, everything on the inside of an object which uses that material will have a white color. Everything on the outside will look black. Back in the default interface, we will delete the link to the material data block and add a new material. As I've already said, I don't care how the monkey looks like right now, so I just leave the material at its default settings. Now we select the monkey, press M and move it to a different scene layer. We shift select that second scene layer so that both layers are still visible. Now we go to the render settings, to layers, and add a second render layer. This will be used to generate the clipping mask, so I will call it mask. That render layer will only render the scene layer of the monkey. Select that layer. and it will use only the mask material we made before. It won't render sky, and here comes the tricky part. It will use a Z mask on the first layer with the plane, and it will be a negative Z mask. What that means is that it will only render things behind a solid face in that layer, which means things behind that plane. So the monkey will be cut by the plane. It will have the material which makes it white on the inside of the monkey, and we will be able to see inside the monkey, which will look like this. And there you go, you have our clipping mask. We are ready to start compositing and making our glow effect. So let's go back to the compositing interface, to the compositing nodes, and select use nodes. We just duplicate that render layer input by pressing Shift D. And for that second render layer input, we select our mask render layer. And as a precaution, let's just re-render the whole scene. I'm just going to add a Führer output, which I can display in that image editor on the bottom left. Good. First thing, in order to create the glow effect, is to get an outline of our mask. To achieve that, we add a blur filter. Select Gaussian blur. The input is our mask. The output can be shown on the viewer. Now let's say we blur it for 8 pixels in X and Y direction. As you can see, the mask is blurred on its edges. Now add a color ramp converter. The input is our blurred mask, and just change the white color so that it is in the middle where the input color is gray. Add a third color, move it to the right, and select it to be black. Now there is our outline of the mask. The outline already seems to have a little glow effect on it. That's because of the 8 pixels blur. If we have a blur of only 2 pixels in size, we would have a simple outline. We could also increase the blur values to something much higher, but then we lose shape. So I recommend doing that bigger blur in a second step. So let's change it back to 8 pixels. So let's duplicate that blur node and use it to blur our outline again by a higher value. The result seems very dark. To make it brighter, you could use a RGB curves node. Just move the top point to the left and it will get brighter. Okay. And now we add a mix node. First channel is that blurred outline. Second channel is the other outline. Select screen. Where's screen? Screen. Okay. Factor 1. And the result will look like this. Okay. Screen is similar to the mix type add, but it's a little more intelligent. It behaves differently on brighter backgrounds. Next step is to add another color ramp to assign some colors to our glowing outline of the clipping mask. Just add a third color, make it blue or red or whatever you want. And move it wherever you want. Okay, now we could just duplicate that mix node and use it to screen this glowing outline over our other render layer. And the result will look like this. So we see we are still not done. There are some areas of the outline which are occluded by our monkey and could be occluded by other things too. And in order to sort them out, we need another mask. That mask is easy to generate. It only needs to cover the area of the plane. So we select the plane, go to the object settings and assign a different path index to the plane. A path index of 1, for example. Now we go back to render layer settings and select the first render layer and select the object index path to be delivered as well. Now let's render everything again so that this path index gets updated. This is this one, and add a converter ID mask. Now we can sort out this path index, which was 1, and the result is a mask for the area of the plane. Should only blur that mask by 1 or 2 pixels because it isn't anti-aliased. That's just so that the edges look smoother. Next step is to apply that mask to the glowing outline, and so we need another mix node, this time with the mix type multiply. It also has the factor 1. And before we screen our outline over the main image, we need to apply that mask. First input of the mix node is the outline. Second input is the mask. And the result looks like this. What did happen? We used multiply, so everything which was white, which means it has a value of 1, remains the same, and everything which was black got black because it got multiplied by 0. So, and after assigning our new outline to the screen node, the final image looks like this. Good. And, well, don't forget to combine that final image with the composite output. And then we're done. We are at the end of this tutorial. There's one last thing I want to show you. I mean, of course, you can have more than one object in the same layer as the monkey. And they will all be affected by that glow effect. But if you want it to be part of some kind of different scenery which has nothing to do with that whole glow effect, um, you should move it to a third layer, not to the layer of the plane. Shift select that layer too, and now run it, and there it is. And of course, the plane doesn't have to be a flat plane, it could also deform like in my demo reel. I think we're really at the end of the tutorial. I think I told you everything I wanted to. I hope I didn't forget anything. I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. I'm really looking forward to receive your comments, and if you really liked it, I have a little request to make. I would like you to make some video responses. I know I don't have to say that, I would get them anyway, but what I want is that you're a little more creative about that. I don't want you to just copy everything I did. You could at least, I don't know, add some material, make a proper light setup, or make everything more high-res, choose different objects, or different glowing colors. Maybe doing something crazy like adding another plane and another layer with an animated texture which gets multiplied on that glow before it gets applied to the rest of the image. Just thinking out loud at the moment. Yeah, something like that. Be creative. I don't want to. I don't want to see you adding that cube in that scenery just because I did it at the end, if you know what I mean. I want to see you understood my stuff. Yes. I'm finished. That's all. Have fun blending and goodbye.